Welcome to Dojo.
Check out Joe, he's a Reddit bro, likes to edit posts, and he starts to glow when he gets the most of votes or likes. Yeah, he's really hyped, really psyched, cause the crowd is really tight and the work is really light. His training plan is the first thing your eyes see, cause he got more follows than my boy Eric Icy. Opinions on Magnus, Hans, and Karyakin, who cheated who, which engine that he hacking. He got blocked by Short, ignored by Dvorak, but he can't be wrong, he scored a like from Truong. He's got lightning attacks on GM blunders and gaffes, true not over the board, it's only the other chat. Still his 7-year plan ensures the last laugh. Distractions detract from any actual actions. Excuses are useless, he rues his inaction. Awaits satisfaction, the status of Magnus. He bought 50 books and opened up 10. Fools ought to read Psalms, not my system. He's got 30 alt accounts on every site around. Chessable courses keep looking cheaper by the pound. He got 22 databases and 36 engines, 25 chess sets, and a massive clock collection. He bought merch from Gotham, Bra and Naka, but his game history looked like some chess copy pasta. A GM coach that he don't listen to, and if you think it is, then yes, my friend, yes, this is you. But that all changed one bright sunny day when a friend said, hey, don't you know, welcome to the dojo, it's good to grow. Welcome to the dojo, I gave up on the easy. Sweatwork's what we need, G. Sweatwork's what I believe, waiting's what I'll receive. Don't you know, welcome to the dojo, it's good to grow. Welcome to the dojo, I stepped away from easy. Sweatwork's what we need, G. Sweatwork's what I believe, waiting's what I'll receive. So Joe got into the business, stopped the app sickness, daily practices rhythm, he even upped his fitness. He found sparring cathartic, postmortems charming. With the plus equal minus, he was armed for elo farming. With notepad and pen, he built up calluses, escape rating paralysis with lengthy game analysis. With sensei direction, he sold his collection. Read one classic and that was fantastic. Now he locked to the spot where they checking off boxes. Young prodigies and some wily old foxes. 3.5 points per box, that's shocking progress. Goal nearing, cohort cheering, Joe doesn't hear it. He's monotasking, no relaxing, concentration maxing. One book, one board, one set, one thought. Work will work, will work, work, never stop. One book, one board, one set, one thought. Work will work, will work, work, never stop. Now occasionally, he peeps the world of the tweet and laughs when he sees the player that he used to be. Blank face staring, complex plans comparing while he's dojo training. Hours a day playing out positions, transpositions, and growing his board vision. Transition from poser to player, focus without a care. He leaves them complaining in his dust, staying with their week-old ratings. Blast past his week-old rating, each week's a new occasion. He never takes vacation, the work is entertaining, the growth he's maintaining. And now Joe is explaining, hey, don't you know, welcome to the dojo, it's good to grow. Welcome to the dojo, I gave up on the easy. Sweatwork's what we need, G. If sweatwork's what I believe, waiting's what I'll receive. Don't you know, welcome to the dojo, it's good to grow. Welcome to the dojo, I gave up on the easy. Sweatwork's what we need, G. If sweatwork's what I believe, rating's what I'll receive. Welcome to the dojo.
Welcome to Dojo.
Check out Joe, he's a Reddit bro, likes to edit posts, and he starts to glow when he gets the most of votes or likes. Yeah, he's really hyped, really psyched, cause the crowd is really tight and the work is really light. His training plan is the first thing your eyes see, cause he got more follows than my boy Eric Icy. Opinions on Magnus, Hans, and Karyakin, who cheated who, which engine that he hacking. He got blocked by Short, ignored by Dvorak, but he can't be wrong, he scored a like from Truong. He's got lightning attacks on GM blunders and gaffes, true not over the board, it's only the other chat. Still his 7-year plan ensures the last laugh. Distractions detract from any actual actions. Excuses are useless, he rues his inaction. Awaits satisfaction, the status of Magnus. He bought 50 books and opened up 10. Fools ought to read Psalms, not my system. He's got 30 alt accounts on every site around. Chessable courses keep looking cheaper by the pound. He got 22 databases and 36 engines, 25 chess sets, and a massive clock collection. He bought merch from Gotham, Bra and Naka, but his game history looked like some chess copy pasta. A GM coach that he don't listen to, and if you think it is, then yes, my friend, yes, this is you. But that all changed one bright sunny day when a friend said, hey, don't you know, welcome to the dojo, it's good to grow. Welcome to the dojo, I gave give up on the easy. Sweatwork's what we need, G. Sweatwork's what I believe. Waiting's what I'll receive. Don't you know? Welcome to the dojo. It's good to grow. Welcome to the dojo. I stepped away from easy. Sweatwork's what we need, G. Sweatwork's what I believe. Waiting's what I'll receive. So Joe got into the business, stopped the app sickness, daily practices, rhythm, he even upped his fitness. He found sparring cathartic, postmortems charming. With the plus equal minus, he was armed for ELO farming. With notepad and pen, he built up calluses, escape rating paralysis. With lengthy game analysis, with sensei direction, he sold his collection. Read one classic and that was fantastic. Now he locked to the spot where they checking off boxes. Young prodigies and some wily old foxes. 3.5 points per box, that's shocking progress. Goal nearing, cohort cheering, Joe doesn't hear it. He's monotasking, no relaxing, concentration maxing. One book, one board, one set, one thought. Work will work, will work, work, never stop. One book, one board, one set, one thought. Work will work, will work, work, never stop. Now occasionally, he peeps the world of the tweet and laughs when he sees the player that he used to be. Blank face staring, complex plans comparing while he's dojo training. Hours a day playing out positions, transpositions, and growing his board vision. Transition from poser to player, focus without a care. He leaves them complaining in his dust, staying with their week-old ratings. Blast past his week-old rating, each week's a new occasion. He never takes vacation, the work is entertaining, the growth he's maintaining. And now Joe is explaining, hey, don't you know? Welcome to the dojo, it's good to grow.
All right, my friends, here we are. Graduates, under 1,000. And it's let me just say, it's a kind of stressful time at the dojo. We have just too many things going on at once. We got this candidate stream. It's a lot of fun, but it takes up a lot of time. So like today, I don't know. Last week we got bumped. We were like, dude, we got to move. So there's that. We're doing this book, How to Analyze Your Games. It's taking forever. And we are doing a lot of work behind the scenes getting Dojo 3.0 ready, which hopefully is going to be May 1st. We'll see, Bows. We'll see. There's things still to do. Maybe we're going to delay that. I don't know. Anyways, so I might get bumped. That's just me, prelude saying I might get bumped from this. The next couple of weeks might be kind of rocky with the graduation shows, but I'm doing my best. Do-si-dos, welcome to the dojo. Hi, Mr. Sombrero. May the dose be with you. Okay, so let's get into it. And King's Gambit says, man, I can't believe how long it took me to get out of this first cohort. I honestly don't know how it's possible from the suggested material. I completed parts 1 and 2 of everyone's first chess workbook, all the Polgarmate ones, played and annotated 83 long games. We're going to take a look, 83. Completed the Chess Steps Method Level 1 and worked through Learn Chess the Right Way Book 2. Worked through a lot of the games in Logical Chess and the first book of Morphy, along with countless hours of other random work. Now this is actually very interesting to me, you guys. I don't know if I'm just a slow learner or what, but it was kind of grueling. Once I was several cohorts ahead in my dojo work, I just started finding other things to do to supplement. In particular, I think I needed a lot more tactics work than what is in the Everyone's First Chess Workbook to really drill into my head. And I also think there needs to be some sort of work to help us blunder less. I bought a book called Is Your Move Safe to help me with that, but it doesn't seem like it has nearly enough exercises. Anyway, I'm glad to be over the first hurdle, and I'm having a lot of fun training. Since I'm done with all the tactics work for the next cohort, I'll probably continue working through both Learn Chess the Right Way series and the Chess Steps method. Okay. Sombrero, I am not doing anything besides graduates today, my friend. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to finish this show. I don't even know. At 2:30, I got to transition into covering the candidates round of today. And I got so much to do. Oh, my God. So, no, nothing extra. So this is very interesting because the whole program is designed so that If you do everything in the program, you will graduate. Let's say with 98% success. This King's Gambit dude didn't, and then started doing stuff above and beyond. And the problem there is, well, it points to maybe something either going wrong with King's Gambit's training or with our program. And once you go beyond, the whole thing is, right, once you go beyond the structure of the dojo, you're going to be spinning your wheels, right? You're going to be like, oh, should I be doing this? Should I be doing that? Maybe you'll go online and watch some Instagram videos, and then your mind will just be going 1,000 different directions, instead of what it should be is just like, this is what you need to do. Here it is. So I'm very interested in King's Gambit here. And their quest. 83 games. Let's take a look here. So 32-year-old dentist in the Midwest. Now, first thing is he got kids. I understand, my friend. It's not interested. So they're playing with the kids. That's great. Free time to lift weights. Boss, I did 2 plates yesterday. 2 plates. Read, and when the weather permits, I'd like to be outside in the sun barbecuing. Oh, this is my kind of guy, man. Or just at the park with the wife and kids. Oh, I want to do some barbecue in the summer, man. So you can see, dude just barely cracked the 301. He doesn't link to his profile. And that might be, if I wanted to do a really deep dive here on King's Gambit, I might go into that. Now, hopefully he's not playing the King's Gambit, because that would be a problem. Okay, so the gut intuition before we get into this is that King's Gambit is hanging his pieces all the time. And before we get into it, I just want to say we had another dude years ago named Je ne suis pas Dave. He's still in the program. And he also had a hard time at first moving through the program because he was hanging stuff all the time. And I'm going to guess, I'm a 99% certain that's what's going on here. But we're going to take a look. And so the question for the program is, are we doing something wrong? In particular, what I don't want is I don't want King's Gambit to be thinking about what should I be doing if everything in the program is already done. So, all right, let's take a look. Clubs. Indiana, nice, okay. Now we're going to go training plan, and I'm going to, he's already done, you can see all the tactics of the next cohort, like he's saying. Already, done all the book and stuff. That was still everyone's first chess workbook. Okay, so what I want to do then is I want to back it up one. And there you can see, my friends. Dude had done everything. So this is a very important person. I'm gonna tell the other senseis about this person. This is critical. King Gambit. My little to-do list. Okay. So, all right. Activity. This is now, you can just see it. This is what dude did. This is what all of the work in the 0 to 300 cohort looks like here. And he did 14 hours non-dojo. Books, and as he mentioned, basically just what he mentioned, right? Okay, good. And we're going to take a look at some games here. Loads of games. Okay, so he is Smeargle the Goat. And let's look at Smeargle the Goat. And Sage is helping out with a couple comments with Smeargle the Goat. Okay. So first thing you're doing here is you're asking the computer. So no bueno. Okay? No bueno. I want to stress, though, that your move is fine. And that f6 is terrible. Terrible. It's actually a move I feel like I see when I play simuls. I see people play f6 a lot. Okay, so knight c3, c6. Controversial, not bringing out their stuff. Good move. Good move. First of all, I just want to say, besides not taking on e5, this is GM level play that you're doing. Poor move. Good. Poor move. Perfect. So GM level play so far. Okay, a3. Fine. Oh, dude, you are playing fantastic. Fantastic chess. Okay, I don't know. I don't know. So far, you're just genius level here. Snip. Dude doesn't care. Okay, and now you played e5. So, one thing we want to say is at this level and even higher, you are going to face people like this who don't appreciate the need to develop their coconuts, right? This person is not developing their coconuts. I definitely think you should push the pawn. You have other fancy moves, but I'm not even going to mention them, okay? Because that's the simple one. You put a bone in his throat with f7. That bone's never going anywhere. That's a turn of phrase that just isn't so nice, is it? The bone in your throat. All right. e5 finally takes. Queen e2. Okay. d5. Mistake. Good. Now, what I like about your recapture, by the way, is if you had captured this way, this bishop would not be free, right? You see, he'd be blocked behind that pawn. So this way is more intuitive to me. Makes sense? Gives you a piece. You say thank you very much. And now you castle. Okay, so now next phase of the game is now here where you are up a piece. Now, in my experience of players who are where you are at, even all the way up to 1,000, what you need to learn to do here is after you steal the piece, to be able to not lose your junk yourself and to trade it all down. Trade it all down and then mate. Boom, 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 boom. Fine. GM level so far. Fine. Weird. Just continues to be weird. Good move. Dude, wait a second. Wait a second. King's Gambit, you're playing beautiful chess. It doesn't get any better than this, Bows. Okay. Bishop d7. Fine. You could have played knight f4, but I'm not complaining. Boom. Boom. Fantastic. Good. Now knight f5 check. Yeah, buddy. Oh, you're just wailing on this dude. Oh, we're killing this fool. Okay. Dang. So you slayed. You slayed this. You slayed this dude. Yeah, fantastic. Fantastic. So I want to stress, Sage is pointing out something more fancy than you need to know, which is that on f6 there's this knight e5 move. Fine, but what you did was just fantastic, because what you need to do at this level is slay people who don't develop their pieces. It'll happen again and again. And who give you their pieces. Will happen again and again. That's all you need to do to have got, first of all, to have gotten to this level and then to the next. I don't know. I don't know how you're not already 1,000 given that game. Okay? So what we're going to do, I'm going to mark that as review. I forget all the time. And then we're going to just look at another one. There's another one you won. You're just killing people. So, good. Okay, you're going to see this a lot. Fine. A little bit unnecessary. I know GM Jesse thinks it's a waste of time. Okay, what I would say, this is important, is it is true it's a waste of time. And you have a couple ways to deal with it, which do not involve h6. Okay? H6 in itself, I want to stress, is not that bad of a move because now the knight has no purpose. Okay, but what I want you to do is become religious about not giving away the time. And so the simple way would be bishop e7 and castles. And we got this coconut covered, right? Okay, so h6, weird. Now listen, Smurgle the goat, I want you to stop using the computer, okay? The computer wants you to play weird stuff like g5. That is not your level yet. It's not helping you. What I need you to see is that this now creates real development problems for you, okay? So the moves that you should be considering here are knight c6 and bishop e7. That's what we want from you. Keep it simple. Okay. Okay, I love how you're developing. Poor move, not developing. Good move. Now, notice, not only did he lose the tempo with this, but now the knight, we don't have to worry about that anymore. Okay, very controversial to play d5. Let's talk about why. Because you're not castled yet, and the point of this move would be to develop this bishop. So in terms of our religion, all right, our religion, we need to fix one piece, and that's this guy. Now, I know the computer wants this fancy move. Okay, that's fancy. But the thing I want you to see is it's just about the bishop. So I don't care about g5. You could play g6, but this guy must come out. Must come out. Okay, d5, poor move. As we see, this is what they do. Okay. Okay, now your bishop's coming out. Very nice. Okay, good by your opponent. I don't know if that helped him. e4. So what I want you to become religious about is not making pawn moves. e4 is the first move where now you have maybe a little bit of trouble. What is the correct move? You got to figure this guy out. Now this might be a little advanced, but bishop d6 is what we want. And we're not afraid of this because of this. Now that's a little advanced because, you'd have to want to see that. But essentially, you're setting up the same thing. Because on bishop, if you're going to play bishop d6 next, you still have to see queen g7, rook g8. This is a real problem with e4 because now he takes. And notice, your coconuts are flying all over the place now with the opening of this e-file and this little coconut thing happening to you over here. I am the deity of tempo. Thank you. I am the deity of tempo. Okay, queen c7. They don't develop. Good move. Queen e5. I don't like it. Because you're trying to finish the game when we need you to castle. Is it a good, dirty trick? It might be, but let's just say it's making me nervous. I think ultimately it's like technically the right move, but you're doing a high wire act that's killing me, bows. Let's just say it looks like a genius level move. So, yeah, this is looking good. Dude needs to play f4, ef, and then rook f2. Or you could also find yourself with this question, bishop f4, and if queen f4, rook a e1, there might not be a simple way to block. And this is what I mean by making things a little bit complicated. But by the way, these tactical things that we're looking at, this is definitely 1,000 plus level, okay? So what I haven't seen yet, King's Gambit, okay? I'm going to call you King's Gambit instead of King Gambit, just because that's the way I talk, is I haven't seen you dropping the pieces all over the place. So at the moment, I still don't get it. Now, I'm spending a lot of time here. Let's mark this as reviewed. We're going to do another one here, just real quick here. Well, he's winning all these games. Hey, look, win, 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 win. I mean, bows. Oh, here's one you lost. This was the beginning of this month. They don't develop. They're putting their knight there. G4 could have trapped the knight. Brilliant note. I love that you're not afraid of him taking the pawn. Give me the development. And right, you're missing that G4 is winning the knight. Okay, by the way, that tactic is something that might take a little bit to see. It might take a while. You know, that's definitely a, let's call it a 700 level plus tactic. Poor. It's just amazing. It's just one of the things. By the way, this will happen all the way until you get to 1,000. They will continue giving you time in just an obscene way. I love it. King's Gambit, let me just say, I love that you have internalized the movement of the pieces. Yeah, we're going to develop, buddy. Simple chess. Notice, this Queen E7 does a similar thing that you did, right? It's like, no, blocking the bishop, not developing. Let's play Knight E4. Let's see what you did. Ooh, freaky. I was fully developed, and he only has 2 pieces developed. It's my understanding that opening files helps the side that is more developed, so I gambit a pawn. Okay, now, let's be clear about your further progress. Don't make your life unnecessarily hard, okay? D5 is very interesting, and honestly, because your development is so great, you could give him 2 pawns, and I still like your position. But we don't, you don't need to go crazy here, right? You just look at it and be like, oh, Knight E4, and it's end. It's the end. You got this, you got this, you got this. You always have this stuff too, whenever you need it. Okay, so D5, too frisky. Now you're losing your mind. Now, one of the things I will say about what you're doing, though, is it's not like you're missing that you're gambiting the pawn. Like, you understand that you're gambiting the pawn. And what I mean by that is, normally at this level and even higher, when people are giving away stuff for free, they're doing just because they missed it. You didn't miss it. You did this on purpose. It's a different kind of mistake. Good. Okay, see, look, you're developed. By the way, when they don't develop, one of the things that will happen is, even if you have made some tactical mistakes, you will still have great chances of winning the game because they are so undeveloped. And bishop f5 is interesting. Also here, g4. So, right, we have to follow your instinct of blowing it open here, right? Okay. Doesn't just a simple attack on our business, not fixing their stuff, bishop g7 would be required. We can talk about other moves here. I like knight e2. Apparently my advantage is 5.4. Okay, so look, this is the thing that's very important. I want you to stop using the computer, okay? Because what we need you to do is just to think about the game in human eyes when you're going through this. Also, note, at this level, when you play these chumps, they are not going to be thinking. They don't have the skill, the resilience to sit on their hands. You're doing pretty good with thinking over here. Let's look. Good. See, now you're going to see that time graph all the time. Your opponents are just not going to be thinking. It's not going to happen for a couple graduations, too. Okay, King's Gambit. We're going to keep an eye. I'm very happy to see that you graduated. One of the things, too, that we're doing for 3.0 is we're going to have an algo set up so that when somebody reaches like 80%, maybe 85% of their graduation requirements, that will automatically look at their business. Okay? Yeah. Now, actually, this is a new thing with Jack. Prompt and dialogue. Wait, now let's just see here. Let's just say if I go here and then prompt and dialogue. That's pretty good, Jack. Nice. Okay. So that was really great, man. That was really great. G4 is a pawn move. Well, but hold on. Before, the reason I was talking about G4 is we gotta follow his instinct and bust him open. And here's the tactical situation here. Knight F6, pop, pop, and then he can't do that because then we'll take. And then pop, pop, and we'll continue to open this coconut up. GF, we win the queen. Okay? It's true. We don't want to be making pawn moves unnecessarily. And further, one of the things, I think he's already internalized it, by the way, is pawn moves are there to either get your pieces out or hurt your opponent's pieces. So here, this is what I would call a tempo move. So it's not losing time because he can't really take without being insane, right? Maybe, and honestly, maybe he's in such a bad lot, maybe he should even let our queen into F7. That's how bad it is for this guy. Okay, so let's go back. That was an interesting one. I really learn a lot about the program when I do these graduations. First, let's get a sense of how big this current show is. Oh, it's pretty big. It's not okay. So I should be able to make it before the candidate starts, anyways. This is wrenches and benches. Nice. 2 plates Kraai over here. It was really nice to have some structure to my study, as well as a way to track all the time I've been putting in. Also very helpful to have a fellow club friend who's also in the program. I totally agree. The in real life sparring partner. It was confusing to me when I should graduate, which is why I waited so long and have almost the whole list of requirements completed. This is okay, however, as I'm in no rush. I love the program and I'm looking forward to 3.0. Oh, genius. Let's check out wrenches and benches. Returned to chess in July of 23, 20 years away. First time studying seriously, loving the journey. Chestnut Pro user. Oh, hold on. I'm going to just briefly check out Chestnut. Do I know anything about it? No. Oh, Chestnut Air Electronic Travel Size Set. Wait a second. Some of these things are expensive. I think it's like a board that you can play on. And then I think it can, oh yeah, okay. Super cool. So I think our own DM Hokie reviewed one of these products. Here, I'll just show you guys real quick. And this is their cheaper option. And so if you want to play online, but you don't want to be in front of the screen and you want to have the 3-dimensional pieces, this is what you could buy. And there's a variety of products, I guess, out there. Yeah. So this is cool. I think that's great that you're doing this. Okay, let's take a look, click around a little bit. We're going to follow clubs, New England, activity, and we're going to go back one. And they did a lot of work, dude. Very true. And also, actually, like King's Gambit, did a lot of non-dojo stuff. Let's just take a look real quick at the ratings. So, right. Almost ready to graduate again. Looking good. Yeah. And let's now look at the training plan. We're going to go back one. And so, right, they did almost everything. So this is interesting to me as well. Like, we are really working hard on the program. And, you know, as you go up the cohorts, it's not surprising that there's more things to do. Right? Which is basically what we're saying is you need to do this to get to the next level, right? And right, we have some people here too who, you know, are basically doing everything and not quite making it, which obviously suggests to the dojo, it's like, hey, you know, buddy, you need to be doing a little bit more. All right, let's take a look and see what's going on with wrenches and benches. So we got 10 games. Good. Uh-oh, I don't know why someone's calling me. Hello.
Yes, hello. I don't know whether I called the right number, but I need to call Redfin Realtor. Are you associated?
No, sorry. Nothing like that. Bye. Who knows? Okay, wrenches and benches. This, I would call this lightly annotated. I might do this game, but I just want to see if the other games just look like that. Okay, you got some notes. We'll call this lightly annotated. It's not terrible. Just maybe it could be a little bit more. All right, let's go and we'll do that number 1 game. So, wait a sec. I got to make sure I know which one you are. You are Charles, okay? So Charles, not a terrible move, but let's say the obvious. When you play this move, you are going to be blocking this bishop in. So, not horrendous, but it would be more ideal to push it 2 squares if we're going to push that pawn. And clearly, you are playing a setup that you've learned. Fine. Okay. My typical setup when playing white, not used to seeing f5. Very frisky. Now, this is an odd move. Now that the f pawn is advanced, I'm working on a dark square attack plan. Okay. In the movie, Searching for Bobby Fischer, they tell him, don't bring your queen out early, Josh. And that definitely applies to this situation as well. Let's talk about the position just in terms of principled opening moves. Those would be knight c3, bishop g5, maybe c4 first to put the knight behind it, giving your queen some scope. Those are the moves that should come to your mind when you see this position. Okay. Also, I think, with the setup that you've learned, I think it's probably detrimental to your chess development, because what we want you to do is just to make principled moves at this stage, right? So when you're learning this kind of fancy thing, it's going to be harder to just play principled moves. Like here, you should be able to say, when you go over your games, it'll be like, oh, that one and that one, that would be my principled moves right there. Okay, so queen d2. Queen moves aren't developing moves. Now you're losing more time. Oh, that was cool, that new thing we got. Castles, a little frisky by your opponent. Knight b5. So again, you're not playing principled moves. Now here's the thing. You've heard me, well, I don't know if you have heard me, but people who do this stream know that I've given this speech many times. It is hard to learn not to hang the pieces. It's hard. It takes board visualization, all kinds of stuff. But getting religious about not giving away tempi, that's a little easier. It's a little easier. Because you just say to yourself, oh, I moved the queen once. I'm not moving her again, or I don't want to, unless I have to. Same thing with the knight over here. You're just going on a journey. This is like the movie Top Gun where the guy's like leaving his wingman. No, stay in the center, man. Stay in the center. Don't leave the wingman. In the movie, it turns out good. In real life, it's never a good thing. Don't leave your wingman. All right. a6. Queen a4. Okay, not good. Your opponent correctly takes. And then can play both king d7 or knight b8. Okay. This move totally shut down my plan. We stopped the game and talked about this during the game. Okay, my opponent saw my plan, which shut me down. By this time in my head, once he figured it out, it's too late. I could not figure out what to do, so I let it rip and basically gave up on this one. Okay, but time out. At this, let's call it at this level, the guy's going to give you all kinds of chances still. So there's no need to go crazy. No need. C4 in itself, maybe not a bad move, by the way. Open him up a little bit. But then take it back. Now you're just going crazy. Yeah, you lost your mind. It's yard sale. That's what we call a yard sale at the dojo. Okay, so, Charles, that was psychological, because you lose a piece at this level, it's not done. It is not done, okay? And the simple things to know I want you to do going forward, okay, is get religious Follow King's Gambit, dude. Get religious about development. Okay, very important. And then also try to do a little bit more notes. And by that, I just mean try to say more about what's going on. And a good starting point is just noting when do I or my opponent give away time in the opening? When am I hanging stuff? What was going on with my psychological collapse? Very basic questions to talk about in your notes. Okay, we're going to see Charles graduate again soon because he's already 2 points away from the next graduation. Okay, so here we go. Let's go back. And next up we have Luis Valdez. And Luis joined in March. Hasn't quite, or maybe graduated and fell down. And let's just look around what's going on. I think maybe they haven't, he's done some stuff, but hasn't, yeah. So we don't know what's going on with Luis, but we do have a game. Not annotated. Okay, Luis, welcome to the dojo. I have a feeling it feels like you haven't explored the site yet. Fine. You know, do some work, and then we're going to come look at you at your next graduation bows. Okay. Knight Rook combo. It says, first time playing longer games other than 15-10. Great. I love that I had more time to think about my moves, although I'm still getting used to using all my time. I did more time studying and practicing than playing actual games because of my anxiety when playing. But because of the program, I now play more games than I used to do. Well, there we go. That's pretty good. Okay, actually, let me just check over here. Okay. So, hold on. I was attacked by an ambulance. I was attacked by an ambulance. Okay, so I don't know if it's a rough neighborhood, but it's like I'm kind of close to a hospital, so they're always going right by me. All right, so looks good with the rating. Let's click around a little bit. Clubs, the Asian Dojo, nice. So cool that we have people from everywhere. And now we're going to see. So, dude did 21 hours of work, mostly tactics. Let's click in here. Looking good. Looking good. Okay. And am I in the right? Yeah. So this looking great. It's okay to be tactics heavy at this point. Games. 2 games. And this is Tom. This was played at the end of last month. Weird. So actually, kind of like what we're seeing at this level, you're going to see a bunch of people try to win with the Scholar's Mate. And what's fun about that is, you know, at this level, a certain percentage are going to fall for it. Good move. Great move. Yeah, so notice, they're not developing. Let's open it up. Good move. Okay. 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 Good move. Poor move. So, wasn't ideal that we let him take on e3, but then he fixed our problems. Now, I could, at a higher level, I would complain a little bit, make little moaning sounds, but I'm not here because you are developing. You haven't hung anything. I'm happy. Good. And now this weird. Okay, was supposed to go to f1. Good. And rook h1, great move. And even though you lost the tempo, I still love your position. Okay, now this one I like less, d5, but it's not the end of the world. Let's just say that these pawns have amazing central control, and now it's our turn to start harassing black. Honestly, maybe just starting with that move. That would be the basic one, right? That would be the basic play. Good. frisky. Now, this is a little bit like the last game where we were leaving our wingman, okay? So let's look at it with fresh eyes. What would be, let's call it the dojo move here. It'd be bishop d3, yeah. Now, it's true that after queen h5, maybe you can't see anything after this. But the bigger point is just to say, oh, our bishop was good here. That was a good bishop. You know, it's just pointing at him. It's communication. And so it's important to see that your position's just improved, and then you could figure out from here. Personally, I like this move. Knight e4, talking to this coconut, bringing the knight in. Now, this is a little bit advanced, but I'm going to show you. Queen takes. This is a white to move and win. You can pause it if you want, but the point is, when they don't develop, this is what happens to them. Check to the miserable king. Check to the miserable king. Coconut gone, right? Now, again, that's a little advanced, so I'm not saying you have to see that to advance to the next cohort. I'm saying just that when you develop your pieces, that's the kind of opportunities that will await you. So again, when they give you time, you want to say to yourself, I want to win even more time. And I know, because Kraai says so, that that's when the tactical opportunities will be there for me. And I just need to open my eyes and look for them. Okay, so knight b5. Stay with your wingman. Good. Thank you for the queen. And honestly, right, this is how it's going to go. You're going to get a lot of games like this. And let's say the opponent shouldn't resign. They shouldn't resign. There's still all kinds of things to do. Now let's do something humorous. Look at your guys' time. So you are much better than your opponent. Your opponent is treating this like a 5-0 game. You know, bishop d3, we can look. They spent 0 time on that move, you know. So that is another, they're going to give you time. They're not going to be able to think themselves, and they're going to hang something like this, right? And if you hang your queen against this person, I don't want you to resign. If you're playing a GM, that's fine. But this person, no, we don't resign after we lose the queen. We keep playing. Okay, so that's looking good. Mark that as reviewed. And that's knight-rook combo. Next up, we have Ormley. Nice, dude. Ormley has graduated a bunch of times. And let's read what they say. This graduation took me about a month, whereas the other one before took me 3. Sure hope this signifies a trend. This time around, I gave the sparring sessions a try for the first time. Got in touch with someone from the dojo, practiced some middle game conversions, and helped them with some endgame sparring. Very enjoyable, though it's difficult for me to fit this in my schedule. I have a hard enough time getting classical games scheduled. Will, however, try to do more sparring going forward. It's been discussed plenty in the dojo, but just to reiterate, I do think there aren't enough tactics for the lower cohorts. We're changing it up. For 7-8, we're looking at EFCW and 300-ish Polgar mates. I worked through 2 tactic puzzle books on my own in the previous cohorts and got up to the 600s in Polgar before feeling too guilty for working ahead of plan. Okay. Sometimes rating progression can lag a bit in the lower cohorts for all kinds of reasons. It's important that the students have some source of high-quality tactics recommended for those times. I've been doing ChessCom puzzles and recently found out about chess tempo. Now again, let me reiterate something. The whole thing with the program is we don't want you having to spin your wheels about thinking, oh, what is it that I should be doing, right? So either it is the case that you're not doing what's in the program, or it's our fault, and like he's saying, the tactics aren't there. We're going to take a look at Ormley and see if that's the case. I definitely think it was the case. It was obviously the case with our first person, King's Gambit. Okay. I've been doing ChessCom puzzles and recently found Chess Tempo, which is a good set of mate and twos, which remind me of the Polgars. Looking forward to the Dojo 3 changes and to working through Learn Chess the Right Way. In other news, I joined a local club, nice, and may attend my very first classical OTB tournament in May. I think that will do wonders for you. 7 rounds, so as long as I don't lose all my games, I may end up with my first national OTB rating. Let me know if there's any dojo resources on tips and advice for tournament newbies. On an unrelated note, for anyone on the fence, get yourself an electronic chess board, like this chestnut that we saw earlier. From Wrenches and Benches. I've been playing all my online games, rapid and classical, on a Chestnut Air. Makes all the difference. And I think, well, DM Hokie reviewed all kinds of boards like that. Okay, so that's really cool with the boards. All right. So, let's click into Ormley and see what's going on. Okay, so, dude, Ormley's progress is like an advertisement for the dojo. Look at that thing, man. The guy is flying up. Reached 800. Look at that thing, man. Just killing it. So we're going to go first into clubs. Good. Aus Deutschland. And then we're going to go activity. By the way, Ormley, if you're in Germany, man, those clubs are great, dude. Really great. I played a couple of clubs, but Viernheim is where I played. You know, and they got clubs. They have even if your club has had a Bundesliga team, it goes all the way down to the bottom to some team that you can be on, you know. Super cool. Okay, so we're going to back it up. And you did 53 hours. And this suggests that you did mostly tactics. And let's look at the training program. We're going to go back one and see what happened here. So you did all the tactics. And we can, well, okay, it's saying you didn't do a couple things. So here's the thing. According to the philosophy of the dojo, okay, what we would have wanted is after you finished your tactics, by the way, first of all, I hear your complaint, and we are definitely upping the tactics. We're changing it around significantly, not only in just a volume way, but in a cool way. So I'm hoping people will be pumped about it. But one of the things about the dojo is to say, listen, when you're done with your tactics, I get that you might be a tactics fiend. That's another problem. I like doing puzzles too, okay? But for your improvement, then you need to do the other things, right? Let's actually look here what you had to do. So you had the win conversions, game to memorize, master games to study. Those need for sure. That wouldn't hurt. And then if we look end game, we got your algos in here, which I'm gonna guess you probably can do, right? And the win conversions, we're changing some of that around. But that would be things to do. But the big one, of course, is this games and analysis. All right, let's take a look, Ormley, and see what's going on. So this was played fairly recently. Okay. Let's see, he's happy with his time management. Let's take a look. Oh, yeah, that's pretty well done. Pretty well done. Okay. I'll mark it as review before I forget. Fine. 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 I was surprised to see this move, offering to trade the bishops. I would assume that the dark square black bishop is black's good bishop, since their pawns are on light squares, while my dark square bishop is my bad bishop. I was happy to trade here. Okay, good. Good. They're developing a piece. I'm not going to complain too much. Good. Good. So far, I feel like you have played, you know, we're playing fine here. 1900, 2000 level. There's some opening niceties, but that's not our question at the moment. He goes back. Rook E1. Great. Rook E8, a little bit weird, and you play Queen B3, which I like. And now we're going to have a question for you. This is more like, by the way, you know, for where you are, like so far, very strong. Very strong. Okay. Well, we're going to see what you did, but I'm going to just explain in my own head what I want you to do, okay? I want you to play knight e5. And it's a little advanced because I'm telling you to move a developed piece twice, right? But the major point is to say that in this position, that's a good outpost for us, and we want to work black on the king side. It's a little advanced because pawns are pointing that way. He wants to work you over here. You broke the pin. Let's see what you did. Dang it. Okay. So you talk about rook ac1 and all this, and you talk about knight e5. Good. This, by the way, is, let's just say, this is a thing about, let me take away the arrows, about positional understanding, right? Which is, honestly, like when we talk about progress in chess, you know, usually we say it's material, learning how not to give stuff. That's the first dimension. Time, don't give away your tempi. And then quality of position. And that's what we're talking about here, quality of position. And so that has to do with finding a plan. And that's one of the hardest parts of the game. So, okay, the reason c4 is wrong is because this knight at the moment isn't doing anything. But the second you play, and it's not doing anything because this pawn is killing it, as is this pawn. And that's why we don't want to play c4. There's other questions about isolated queen pawns and yada yada, but the bigger point is we're setting that knight free. Okay. e5. Totally weird. Totally weird. He's gone loco. He's gone loco. Good. It looks right. It's going to get a little hot now. Okay. And now you played rook ac1. And you talk about queen c4 and other moves. Okay. And right, the problem with rook ac1 is that he can take. And then your rook isn't threatening the queen anymore. What's interesting is it looks pretty fanciful. It looks very fanciful to play e5. Yeah, and that looks correct. I mean, maybe he's not completely lost here. It's a little bit surprising to me. Yeah, a little surprising to me. He deserves to lose after this, honestly. Okay, but I don't see any simple way to crush him. You're right, this is wrong because of rook takes. Now he messes with you a little bit. Nice move. And you say, boom, I don't care. All right, fighting moves, fighting words. He takes. If he was going to play queen a5, you'd think maybe he wouldn't do that. And now we're going to get a nice little endgame, my friends, where I think you're winning, actually. So bishop e4, good move. And then it's important to see here that you're actually winning. So on rook d8, it's white to move and win. Pause if you don't see it. We got bishop takes, rook e8. Right? So this move is definitely a mistake. And he needs to play something else like rook d8 or rook f8 just to get out of dodge and leave you with this burning question of what to do over here. Okay. Queen b7. I mean, if you can do it, you should do it. So now he blundered. Good move. Good move. Honestly, I think rook e8 might be his best move because bishop h7 just wins a pawn. You know, otherwise he's losing a coconut. And now we have ourselves an interesting endgame. And right, we'll say the prudent thing for you to do is to bring back the bishop, but strictly speaking, we don't have that problem. Okay, what is the problem? Is to get fissured with g6 and have your bishop stuck. However, it's not actually a problem until this isn't a problem for black. So knight b3, I think, is correct. Doesn't do much. Good move. g4. Okay, I would have taken the pawn first, but fine. And now you have yourself an endgame that I would call winning on a GM level. However, we're still going to get some adventures, I'm sure. Okay. Now, going for it. Snip. Knight d5. Fascinating position. And you say after knight c8, that's not it, boss. Yeah, no, I still think you're winning. And one thing I want to stress about this, and you're kind of learning it from all these great variations you're going through, is that knight endgames are complicated. That's just the nature of the beast. But with all these extra pawns, you should be winning no matter what. Well, even if it's black's move, you should be winning. At a certain point, you should be able to give up your knight and still be winning. So I don't think it's as bad as it looks. The problem with it is it's not doing anything, right? And so a4 is a fine move. Let's call that the most prudent move. But king g2, any move like that, start moving your coconuts up the board. Okay, now it's getting fun. All right. Now, this is a little weird to me. I don't know why we wouldn't play a3. I don't know why he wouldn't at least try taking. Good. 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 Nice, buddy. Oh, it's so enjoyable. It's so enjoyable. There we go. So that was a great game, Ormley. That was a great game. And let me just say something. Like, when I think about the mistakes you made, not many. Not many. Definitely not, at the level you're at. I don't have any problems. For example, you might have some other coach that tells you some subtleties about the opening, but that's not your issue, okay? So, if anything, it was then this move, c4. But I want to say that's a mistake that I would put, at a higher level. I see people 1,500 making that mistake all the time. And then you missed that bishop e4 was, in fact, close to winning for you, and that rook e8 was probably their best shot, right? So you're doing great, boss. You're doing great. I'm really happy to see it. Okay. And great notes, dude. Great notes. I don't have any problem with these notes. Yeah, people in the dojo working. And normally say he's in the chat saying he's sweating bullets during the game. I would have been sweating bullets a little bit too. But one of the things you're getting out of it, and then especially when you review it, is like, oh, right. I know what a winning endgame feels like, even when I know it's like I have to still calculate and things are rough. Okay, great. So that was Ormley. Next up, we have Mariko, also graduated third time, really nice. And Mariko is joining Ormley in this 800 to 900 cohort. Mariko says, I decided to graduate since I reached about 1600 Lichess. I still make mistakes. Status, I still make mistakes. These are not always obvious blunders, but things that can be avoided with disciplined thinking. Need to slow down more. I'm an advocate of no opening theory at my level, but sometimes I find myself in situations where I'm not sure what is a good move. We all are. We all are. Especially in openings that are less known or are tricky. My play is still very volatile in rapid games, so I hesitate to move up the cohorts very fast despite my classical rating. What worked? Tactics, but too few are in the 700, 800 cohort. I have already moved to the next cohort's books, and I'm working on other books too. It is way ahead of my cohort, but the logical chess book is great. Fun fact, we had a fancy statistician do some work, mean regression and all this other stuff, and logical chess move by move was the resource that was most tied to rating game. Most, like, clearly tied, which I found amusing. And after I read that, then this was right before last week's graduate show, several people in the comments mentioned this book. I'm working through it very slowly and find it very helpful and interesting, especially in my opening and general thinking of the game. I hope that is okay. Shout out to the devs. The new feature with the comments in the public games is amazing. Shout out to Jack, really. So one thing again, I just want to stress. We're going to look and see if this is true about Mariko. But what we don't want, right, is when you go outside the program, it's right. We don't want you to expend excessive energy, like thinking about it. You know, we just want you to be able, like, here's what I need to do. Let's go do it. Okay. So, Mariko. Okay. Really good. And, well, honestly, Mariko, the obvious thing we can say is it looks like you are simply well beyond your cohort. So the fact that you're doing stuff beyond your level might have something to do with the fact that you probably belong in the 1,000 to, the 1,100 to 1,200 cohort, right? Maybe it's a confidence thing. Maybe you're talking about volatility. Definitely, though, look. Look, Mariko, come on. Come on, it's time. It's time to go up. Mariko's in the chat, which is really cool. All right, let's take a look. Clubs. European. Nice coders. And now we're going to look at we're going to look at the training plan, and I just want to see the percentage of stuff she had done. So she did all the tactics, the middle games and strategy, little end games. So we see there's a pattern of people being like, I need to do more tactics. They want more tactics, Bowers. We are changing it for 3.0, but I just want to stress, trust the program. Trust the program. And also, trust graduation. Mariko, trust graduation. You're already there. Let's look briefly at middle game strategy. So they got the win conversion. She did do the master games to study. Didn't do the game to memorize. Okay. One thing also that's interesting for our studying the 3.0 is we are looking at which things did people do and which did they not do. And like game to memorize, master games to study, those were the ones, and all the sparring stuff were much less done than the other things. Plus minus equal, also less done than we'd want to see. So we're working on that. Okay, so here we go. Let's take a look. And Mariko, if you want me to take a look at a specific game, I can. But this looks like a good amount of games that you've done here. So, okay, classical game. JT did some analysis. Kostya's 5 stages of grief, but for game analysis. Let's take a look at this beautiful time graph. And Mariko did well with her time. And we want to check what time control do we have. Looks like game 90, no increment. We'll mark it as reviewed before I forget. And let's go into it. Nothing wrong. Nothing wrong. Nothing wrong. Beautiful. Weird. Okay. So, by the way, incorrect. Let's talk about why. White has already made a pawn move to get the bishop out. It is therefore unnecessary to be making another pawn move. Perfect. Weird. Unnecessary pawn move. Perfect. C6. This is the first move we could criticize if we wanted to. The thing that we should say is when your opponent gives you time, as Black has now done, that's our opportunity to be encouraged to start thinking about tactical opportunities and opening up the game. So, for example, I don't always take pawns, but when they open the position and are kind of hard to recapture, I might, right? And so we take, and we might play e5 next move, and we'll let Black, I don't know how they have their own issues in recapturing the pawn, right? And when we play e5, we'll get this coconut out. We'll probably bring this coconut here. If we want to, we could play c5, knight c6, but the simplest is to play e5 next, right? So again, when they give you time, that's when we want to think about our opportunities. They will generally be there. Okay, knight e5. It's a frisky move. Okay, so let's talk about this. One thing that I notice a lot is sometimes when people have internalized the advice to develop their stuff, at a certain point it becomes like, geez, I don't know what to do. And then they do something wacky like knight e5. Who needs to be fixed? This guy needs to be fixed, right? So what should our default move be? Well, there's two. We either play for e5, but I think at this point this pawn is hanging, so if we wanted to play for e5, we'd have to take and then play e5, opening this coconut, or the simplistic b6 and put our bishop here. Fine. But it has to be said that at this point we need to be focused on this bishop, right? Okay, so knight e5. White's best move for sure is d4 to pop your knight and win a tempo. Knight f4, weird, and then we blundered with knight d3. Okay. Now, at this level, it's not over. It's not over. When I want to stress, we will blunder, okay? And again, the hardest thing to learn is not the tempo thing. It's the hanging of pieces, right? When we do screw up, we will often be up time, and for that reason, at this level, we'll often be up time. And for that reason, maybe we still at least have some practical chances. Good move. We're hitting the knight on d3. Knight b2, fine. Okay, so we have a pawn. And then here's this looks like a psychological collapse, right? Okay, so what would be correct? e5. Get your bishop out. They take. And this is a little bit unnecessary. Rook bishop f3. Okay. Unnecessary. Giving you time, right? Okay. Weird. Okay, good. Loss of time. Good. Makes me a little nervous for the person because now that c3 knight is a little loose. Good move. Not a good move. And now b4. Okay. I don't see anything too strikingly obvious besides that. Okay, let's leave it. b4. Good, we got ourselves another coconut. Queen b5. Okay, I like it in principle. We have to deal with knight d6. I like it. Frisky. And now we're making progress. Very nice. Right. And then we have really what is a Polgar mate with queen d5, king f4, queen f5. So something to see about the way the game developed is at this level, they didn't understand that they needed to consolidate their position, and they kept losing time. And then all of a sudden, boom, they got hit with these problems. And it looks like you're winning. Good. Good. G5. Okay, fine. A little frisky. Okay, let's talk about this. So, one thing that I said earlier was that a key task of yours is going to be, anybody under 1,000, is to take the free stuff and then consolidate your position so you're just trading everything down, right? Which really means we don't want to be too fancy. And so a simple move here would be queen b5, just to make sure there's no drama down here. Now there's a little drama. You take. And now I think there was hectic problems here. Let's look. Check to the miserable king. King. Queen. King. Mate. Ouch. Ay, chihuahua. That wasn't good. By the way, this allowing queen b7 really is a bummer, right? I don't know if there's any simple way of dealing with it at this point. So your opponent gives you, plays quickly, doesn't think about it. Bishop e3. Now they can still do queen b8 check. They don't understand. Queen f3. Snip, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Check. Okay, so let's talk about this. Queen f3, king f3, knight d1. You say you should be able to convert this. Problem, right? So that wasn't it. Right, we're going to lose a piece. That's a typical pattern we can learn. A way to do this, I think, is check to the miserable king. King has to go here to protect his lady. Boom, f5. We're going to push the king away from her lady, and it's all over. So queen g1. You might be doing a similar thing here. Okay, good. So, Mariko, there it is. Well done. And what we can say, right, is that you're going to get a lot of positions like this. They're going to give you time. And then we want to think about what to do when they give us time. In general, it's going to be taking their stuff, finding some tactic, opening the position, gaining even more time, right? So something like dc4. This kind of thing, knight d3, that will simply come with time, right? Bitter experience. bitter experience. By the way, always say what you should have done. So, for example, in this position, you just take and you say, thank you very much. Another thing then we could also say is because knight e5 can be met with d4, if we want to win the pawn, then we go pop, 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 and we're going to win it, right? Because d4 or knight f4, we take on c4. We say thank you for the friendly coconut. What to do if they don't give free stuff away? Well, they will. At this level, they will. That is a guaranteed. Now, Mariko is actually not at the 700, 800 level, my friends. She's actually at the 1100, 1200 level. And at that level, this is going to be a little tougher, right? It's going to be a little tougher, for sure, a lot tougher. In general, I think 1,000, you'll still people see giving stuff away, but that's really where the yard sales, where people are just giving everything away. That's generally where we see that tapering off. And make sure I don't have Kostya or David yelling at me, telling me, get off the stream, buddy. What are you doing? I got to be careful. So we got to do our candidate stream in a little bit. Okay, great. I already marked as reviewed. Mariko, well done. Well done. Next up, we have Neku, who's also in the chat. Came back to chess after a long break, no particular reason. I'm just young and inefficient. That's how I want to diagnose my condition. Shout out to JT. JT also was helping out Mariko for reviewing the game. Found ECFW quite enjoyable, especially the last part, if easy at times. The sparring positions definitely take way longer and are tougher than I expected. In fact, the rook versus knight, the side with the knight won 3 consecutive games. I also obviously found the blunder games helpful and also the slower games and definitely analysis. I had a lot of fun reviewing the games of minuses. The comment feature makes this easier. Nice. I also have a hypothesis on why playing games seems to correlate with the largest increase in rating. It's because the way you actually get rating is by playing games. Analyzing games or tactics or something else may make you better, but it doesn't directly increase your rating. Okay. Neku, by the way, look at that. That's a lot of work. So let's look. All right. Born and baptized Romanian, immigrated to Western Europe at 12. Almost adult improver. Okay, great. Neku is graduating a second time here. 804, lovely rating graph. Clubs, European. And let's say it's training plan, because they did a lot here. So they did, again, all the people are obsessed with the tactics. Done the tactics, done more than they needed to graduate. Right, so really good. We're just going to back it up real quick to see it as a graph. So 102 points of work. Really well, really great, really great. Okay, so Neku, let's take a look at some of your games. The obvious thing we could say, Neku, is that you should be doing more games and of analysis in any case. Okay, good notes to self. I'll remark a review before Boomer GM forgets. My mom told me to develop my quizzes before my queen. Maybe fine. So I definitely think your move is great. Nothing wrong with your move. Bishop d2 is weird because it cuts the communication to the knight and blocks the queen. So I love your move. Love your move. Bishop b4. Okay. JT called this a mistake, but to me it just seemed like a few of the ways to not lose a pawn. And then upon further inspection, you think about bishop d2 and castles. JT told me to consider this at least, but to me it just seemed like castling here loses a pawn outright and makes my queenside pawn sad. However, upon further conception, I do understand that I get a really decent position, up a lot of time. Beautiful. Yeah, so by the way, I don't have huge problems with queen d2. I love castles though. It's a genius level move. So let's talk about this a little bit. One of the cool things that you're doing is let's just pretend that you don't know anything about openings, okay? I don't know if that's true, but let's just pretend, because that would be great. You don't know anything about openings, you develop your pieces, and you are playing GM level moves. This is GM theory, whereas bishop b4 is known to be a bad move. Why is it a bad move? Well, because the GMs have come to understand that this is no lo puedo for a couple of reasons. One, you definitely don't want to be spending time taking that pawn. But two, look at what black did. They put all their pawns on light squares and then gave you the mortar to the building, which was the dark square bishop. It's gone now. Those dark squares are incredibly weak. So what's cool is that in your analysis, you came to understand that this is a great position for white. Now, that being said, for where you are, fine. Castles, good. b5. And now you go for it with knight cb5. Let's read what you write. This move looked great when I played it, but while I was waiting for my opponent to respond, I realized it was a huge mistake because after this series of trades, my knight ends up trapped on c7. No capture on b5 seems to work. And what I really like what you did here is a lot of people are just so upset that they don't even think about what it is they should have done. And here you talk about f4, which I think is a fine move. And you've got several moves here. I'll just add a couple. a4 would develop our rook. Might look weird, but it might look like a Kraai who's making a pawn move. It's not about the pawn. It's about developing my rook. Just an example. f4 looks fine. Okay, so knight cb5. Boom. Oh, mistake. So bishop d2, knight c7, bishop e3, fe3, rook a7. White has no squares, bows. It's funny, man. Okay, true. Very true. And one thing maybe we should say is, of course, this is not great for you, but in this position, let's just put it here for a second. It's not without hope, right? It's not without hope. All pawns, no hope. all pawns and a little bit of hope. Okay, so queen a5, knight c3. And c3 is a very nice move. Where you're at, I think it's fine. But notice that, again, the point is actually, the reason this is so good, is that if we can get their dark square bishop, well, we want it. We would love that coconut. Good move. Okay. 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 Did we blunder something here? Okay, and he says, this is where I visualized going with bishop knight b3. Well, now, definitely queen c7, but it's important to understand that why. And it's not maybe super simple. Well, your variation is a tactical way to understand why queen c7 is best, but it's important to see that even if you don't have your fancy knight a5 thing, which is very cool that you found it, that this is an amazing position for white too. Because look, you're killing the dark squares all over the place, you know. Okay, but your move is much better, of course. Good. And here it would be nice to see your eval. I would say at a GM level, this is completely winning, you know. Where you're at, let's call it a small advantage or something, right? Boom. Fine. Poor move, and you got him. Very good. Okay. No problem. Now, e5 is not a horrendous crime or anything, but one thing just to note about this kind of position is when we win the exchange, right, we want open files for our rooks. So it makes a lot of sense to try to open the files. And what did d5 do? It helped you open the files, right? And either one, like knight d5, the move I would say is bishop e4. Why? We want to trade stuff and we want to open the coconut. Okay, so e5, fine. Superficial, fine. Not doing anything. Rook a1, preparing to play c4, b4. And then JT says c4. I like c4 a lot. Why? We want to open the position for the rooks. Helping you trade off. Fine. Helping you open the position. Fine. Now, There's nothing wrong with CB. I like AB because we're opening up the rook. But this is all fine. King F2. Good. Good. Fine. Oh, not good. We don't want to give up the pawn. Let's just protect your pawn. Just protect the pawn. We don't want to give him no pawn. We don't give him no pawn. Now, so it's not that knight e5 is a mistake. You're saying that you missed it. So the mistake would be king e2, right? I get it. That's a good move, though. I like that, using the tactic on the back rank. Good. And now you get real frisky. You get real frisky. Now, honestly, I approve. I approve. But it is pretty hectic what you're doing. B6. Good. 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 And what's cool about this position is you can just remember the simple rule of thumb that 2 pawns on the 6 beat a rook. And here they're definitely beating the rook. So that's very nice. And now the guy resigns. Pretty good game. Yeah. I just want to say, we're talking about games in the under 1000s, and we are getting really well-played games here. Really well-played games. And in my dream reality, you haven't studied any openings really, and you're just developing your stuff, right? And your mom told you to not develop pieces before the queen. That's true. And what did you do? You played bishop d3, queen d2, and you castled. Fine. Correctamundo. Yeah, you're doing great. Doing great. Okay, so that's Neku. And actually, I want to just go back just 1 second with Neku. So Neku is clearly crushing it. And yeah, okay, good. I think you're going to make it soon to the next level, Neku. That was, based on that, that was well played. You have good annotations. You're working with people like JT. Couldn't be better. Couldn't be better. And he says he hasn't studied openings. Yes, yes. I really think it's great. My friends, for the opening fiends out there, okay, let me just stress this. Neku played GM level moves without the opening. And I want to stress this. The people that I know have studied the opening, they will go wrong in ways that Neku did not, because they are confused with all kinds of rememberings and decemberings and rememberings, okay? But Neku is not confused, just developing the stuff. Bring the coconuts out. So I'm so happy about that, Neku. There will be a time for Neku to study openings. It's just not yet. Okay, we have one more, and then I got to get out of here. And that is Wiluka. And actually, we're going to do another person after this. Excuse me. Just forcing myself to focus on my games without distraction and longer controls probably was most beneficial for my rating. Great, Wiluka. So, I'm going to open, follow, 975. Looks like Wiluka's ready to do it again. Clubs. And then we're going to look at the activity and go back one. Now, by the way, this is one of the things that was very interesting for me today, and it's interesting because we are doing a lot of work on the Dojo 3.0 about how to make it better. And we saw several people who did, an extraordinary amount of work. And some of them ended up feeling like they needed to go outside the program and, no bueno for the program. Okay, so what we're seeing here with Wiluka is Wiluka has not done some of the macro work. Let's just say, what's the non-dojo? The chess media to me is YouTube videos. That's what it means to me. But there's stuff in the training plan that they're not doing. But okay. We're now looking at what happened here. And right, so no middle games and strategy. Some tactics, some end games. Good. All right, so games. 2 games. I'm not happy with this game. Luca is black. I was uncomfortable for the majority of the opening as I'm not very familiar with c4. Okay, so my hope for you, right, would be we just play chess. Let's see how it goes. e5, e4, weird. Beautiful. Weird. Okay. So this has nothing to do with the opening. Nothing. We're just developing our pieces. They're giving us time. Good. 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 GM level. Poor. We knew this was going to happen. Okay, now we do have kind of an interesting question, however, about what to do. And I would say wouldn't know 100% what to do here either. And part of the drama is that we don't have an easy way to open the position. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on. So this bishop has to find a path in life. It's terrible at the moment. Maybe they'll get fancy and play g3. This is their best piece. They got a grip over d5, right? We are up considerably in time. Let's play the time game. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4. They've got 2, but it's my move. So it's 5-2. Great. Great. 5-2, 3 tempi. Okay. Now that doesn't mean that automatically I know what to do, right? Now, am I afraid of bishop g5? Not so much. Do I know what to do? No, I don't. I don't know what to do. It's hard. Couple plans. One move that you guys are going to yell at me for is to just play a6 so we don't have to worry about the b4. Yes, it's a tempo, but we do get to keep this coconut looking at their coconut. Is it the best move? I don't know. Now, the next move, which would be a little frisky, and you guys are going to yell at me for this one too, would be to move our knight somewhere, like here. And you're like, Kraai, dude, you just told me about this whole thing, and now you're telling me to do that. Bear with me a second. The point is we need to open the position, and f5 with Federico, the f-pawn, would engage our f-rook into the game, right? We could consider other knight moves too, but that's the first one that comes to mind for me. Okay, h6, bishop e2. Bishop e6, good. We could have done that too. And I'm sensing maybe now too that part of h6 is so that you're not going to get whacked with knight g5. Knight d4. Okay, you know I'm against it because we're moving a developed piece twice. So the default move could be queen d7, threatening a Hindu sack on bishop h3. Okay. Loss of time. Right. Now you say it activates their queen, but look, you're giving time when you play bishop b6, right? You're saying bishop b3, queen e3. Loss of time. Now we definitely want you to take on e3. Oof. Oh, no. Okay, so they've won an incredible amount of time. a4. And yeah, you had so let's just say you had a whole thing in your head about not taking on e3. Right? So you have determined that you're not going to take on e3 for some reason. Their best piece in the position. Why is it their best piece? Because all of these pawns are on, the key pawns are on light squares. And so his bishop is controlling the squares around said pawns. I just get rid of it. Get rid of it. We should have done it ages ago. Now look at your bishop. Now it's miserable. Probably more. Well, you could think about this and then this. Anyways, we're going to leave that there. I want you to play bishop a5 here, though, so that it at least does something. Now we're getting smushed a little bit, huh? No. Okay. 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 Now they're threatening the Hindu sack. It's probably nothing to worry about right now. Good. Okay, I would want you to, what would I want you to do? I want you to play here so that your rook is open. Again, I want you to play bishop b4 so the rook is open. Okay. And now I think we blundered it here. Good move. Good move. They trade, which allows a variety of promising tactics. This cannot be the best move. Good. Well said. Okay, and the other thing I want you to see, this is a great example of being able to understand what it means to lose your good bishop. Okay? Because white has now lost the said good bishop. The knight is terrible, and you own the dark squares. You own them. And our dream now, let's see how you affected it, would be to get this bishop involved either here or here. Yeah, so we are now in a positionally winning position. This will hopefully be instructive. Rook c1, does that help? No. Good move. Good move by white, actually. I really like that they fixed their knight. King f8, no lo puedo. I play a waiting move because I did not see good moves for them. Maybe continuing the attack would have been better. Well, let's talk about it. I personally like queen d4 because that just feels like it can't be wrong. And then the simple move to play is here. You know, I'm just saying, no, queen, you can't move because of queen f2 stuff. And I'll probably put this bad boy here. And I'm just all over him on the dark squares. I'm just all over him. They can barely move. It's king f8. So what am I saying? We just try to improve the position. Doesn't do anything. Good move. Oh, I said, would he do it? Definitely, they did it. Nice, Waluka. Nice. Okay. Beautiful. That's a beaut. Queen d2. It doesn't really do anything. h5, good move. Rook e1. Now, actually, I would say h5 is in principle right, but we do want to prevent rook e1. And so, a move like rook e7 is a little tricky because then on rook e1 we have bishop c3. I don't want to trade the rooks here, though. And so that would be my first inclination. Okay. Now, what's very important is we cannot allow the knight to e4. We cannot. That knight gets there. Oh, no. Oh, no. And I would say, I definitely think you're better here. It's at least harder for white to play. You stick the bad queen. She's a good queen. She's a good queen, but you stick her either here or here. And she's just looking all over the place. Yeah, now we're actually in trouble. I guess we're toast, actually. Oof. So one thing we'll actually say about white is they did a very nice job in fixing their bad piece, right? They did a very nice job in fixing their bad piece. At this level, we don't often see it. So, you know, well done from white to fix their bad piece. I really liked, though, that you also fixed your piece, you know, and it was just around here that we kind of, like king f8 was the first move that lets it slip a little bit. Rook d1, and then we need to play, you know, queen d4 or something. And then here we really want to prevent rook e1. By the way, they can't, just for the crowd, they can't really play knight d2 because of this stuff. So they have to trade the rooks before that goes down. Okay, so my friends, that was the Graduate Show. I'm going to end the stream, but in about 40 minutes, we are going to be back with... Oh, excuse me. No. I got booted off the stream. I got booted off the stream last week. And there was a fine gentleman who then did not... I was like going over their stuff. And I got booted from the stream while I was doing it, and then I never got back to it. So we're going to do that now. So we're going to go scoreboard, user search, and this is going to be bleach bullet. Let's see if I just find it with bleach bullet. So this is actually 1,000 plus, but it might be kind of fun to see the difference after looking at a bunch of players in the sub 1,000 arena, if we can call it that. Okay, so first, I always like to go clubs. Denver, oh yeah, I'm a friend of Denver Dojo. Training plan, we're gonna go down one. And, well, they did a little bit of everything, not too much, basically crushing it. Or maybe they're not writing down too much of what they're doing. That's also possible. 32 hours, you know. And the 32 hours, though, mostly they're doing non-dojo stuff. They got a coach. That's fine. Okay. So let's hope for some games. We got 2. Let's take a look over here. Really rough game. Okay, let's look. Good. Terrible move. Right? CD4, bishop b4. We won the center and time. Knight c3, d6. Okay, so now this position, you're doing great, but it is a little bit hard to navigate because you have to appreciate that your center can be a little loose, and the problems that black has have mostly to do with time. And time and space, right? And that means we have to be thinking about constricting their pieces. Okay, so you played bishop b5, and you thought about d5. Good. So d5, and then the reason is normally we wouldn't want to push this pawn, but this will force black to give this trade, because if they move this knight, queen a4 comes. So boom, 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 boom. Oh, delicious. I think honestly they shouldn't play knight e5 precisely for that reason. If you get this diagonal going, it's too strong. But this is definitely a clear advantage. And personally, I would choose this line because of what I said earlier. If we just kind of fuddle-wuddle, we have to worry about black being able to maybe touch our central squares in some way that might be unpleasant. This cannot be wrong, however. Cannot be wrong. That's definitely wrong. And now queen b3. It looks like a good move. So we're threatening bishop c6. He says, okay, I will help you support your center and give you my bishop. And you say, thank you very much. You're doing great. All right, bishop d3, and you write this. Couldn't find anything concrete here, so I chose to improve my bishop and to defend my center pawn. Missed a win by a miscalculation, though. And you're saying e5. Okay. One thing I would like to stress about e5, okay, is your opponent, and we've talked about this at the lower cohorts today actually too, is your opponent has neglected their development, and when they do so, we are interested in opening the game. The probably key trick to also feel, by the way, this is the things you feel before you calculate. To feel is they gave you the dark square bishop, so you are now in possession of what could become a really powerful, unopposed dark square bishop. Those are all the things which should lead us to thinking about e5. Now, I don't know, I have no idea what black's best move here is, but I know that if they take, they're completely hosed. Can I talk like that? Anyways, they're completely hosed because this bad boy is going to show up and they're never going to castle. Right? So if that's the case, I don't know, knight e7 or something nasty, but it's a long road here, you know? We got bishop a3 stuff. No one likes it. No one likes it. Okay. So, and the reason to feel a niggling sense of no bueno with bishop d3 is just because it's, first thing, it's not a developing move, and second, you know, you should feel that black has really broken the rules here. And now you play at h3. Now, once you play bishop d3, h3 kind of makes some sense because you're just going to be sitting there and being like, well, now I'm going to sit on you, buddy. And it's true. You got a great sitting position. They will give you some time because they're afraid. Now, I just think rook e1. Let's see what you did. Fine. Okay. Well, I'm fine with it. And now you play e5. So this is concrete. Oh, it's a good move. I think. I'm just looking at it a second. Okay, one thing I think we should be saying is there's a little bit of oh, okay, let's just see what happens. I think there's a little bit of tactics here that want to really be clarified because this is where you are forcing what might be the end of the game. So, just thinking about it a second. Okay, I don't think it makes a difference with knight h7. That was the thing I was looking at. Boom, good move. Here, and you say knight h5. Maybe. And I'm assuming you're thinking something like here, 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 maybe? And that would be a good variation to give us. You know, like this. And I do think you're doing great. Yeah, I think you're doing great. Even if they are threatening the Hindu sack right here. So, bam! Dang. That's pretty intense, dude. That's pretty intense. Okay. All right. I believe in it. I think the Hindu sack, the reciprocal Hindu sack might be in order. It might be in order. I know you're still doing great, but there's definitely questions all of a sudden here. You know, there's questions. Let me just explain. When the issue is, when this goes down, the bishop is going to be hanging. So we might as well get rid of it first, right? Boom. Now you're crushing him. Great. Great. Beautiful position. Rook f3, desperation. Fine. 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 h4. Now I'm in serious danger. Okay. Queen f6 is fine. I would personally like to see rook g1. Just because if they want to take on h3, I want everything to be traded. So actually, this might be just be a... See, this is me being a failure, though. Is it? Well, I think it is. I think it's Kraai being a failure. No, it's not that bad. We do have to analyze this, though. What do I ultimately want? I want to trade the rooks off. Very important to me. So pop, pop, check to the miserable king, knight g5, and then I win the coconut. Okay, so I love the annotation because h4 is a move which is declaring that the game is over, right? And in some positions, I can imagine h4 being the move. What you're saying with queen f6, also true. Also true. Okay. So h4, rook f8, good move. And now it's really weird, right? Really weird. You missed this. By the way, it's just super scary what you're doing. Super scary now to move the queen away, like queen g4, exactly. Boom. Now, are you toast? Now, here you say hg double question mark, but it's important that we talk about what else you could have done. else could we have done? King G2 seems like a question. And it's hairy. Like Queen E6, Rook H1, Queen G4, King F1. little dangerous moments for the dojo, you know? All right, so H&G, Queen E6. Completely unacceptable that I failed to calculate this move. And here, right, you have lost your mind. Mm-hmm. And then he does a nice trick to you here. That's pretty rough. Oof, 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 oof. And you write King G1. This is a giant. Okay, wait. Here goes Queen E3. Check to the miserable. Check to the miserable. Check to the miserable. Well, yeah. I mean, honestly, if you're black, you probably want to force a draw here. You know, I don't know, but, you know, who knows who's better at just at first blush. Okay, you guys, that's it. I'm going to be back later, about a half an hour from here. I'm going to close ye old eyes for a second. Not going to sleep. I'm just going to close them so they don't get burned by the screen, because I'm going to have to come back to the screen. All right, everybody, I'm going to raid somebody, and that will be it. Oh, Pigs on the 7, thank you. Are you the famous eval barless stream? Yes, we are. Yes, we are. So, booms. Booms. Who gonna raid? Mouse. Raid. Let's raid the famous I Am Rosen. Let's see what he's up to. All right, you guys, if you wonder, what is this amazing site? What's been going on? This is the Dojo training program. And you can just type in, like, what is it? Something like boom, dojo. And then boom, you see it. You can come be part of the dojo. You can graduate one time yourself. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Chubby Warner. Appreciate the sub.